All right. There we go.
Anything.
There we go. We got it.
Wait
We
for
got it
it.
now. We might be we might be live now. Maybe might be able to see us. Just kind of, sort of. You know. All right. How you doing today, Josh?
I am doing excellent, actually. A lot better than I have in the last couple of months. That's for sure.
That's understandable.
Is it? Well, I quit my job, and I haven't couldn't be happier about it.
Sometimes I think that it's okay to do that. Sometimes
Yeah,
I think you have to.
I think I did the right thing in this situation for sure.
Yeah.
I I don't. The only thing I feel bad about is like leaving the people that that I left behind.
Yeah.
Not being able to help them out,
No, I mean, I
make
get that. I get
their
that.
lives a little bit
I mean, there is somewhat of a loyalty, I guess, to the people around you that are kind of, as some people would say, in the trenches with you. That
easier. Yeah.
like leaving and going. Sorry, guys, you're on your own. it doesn't leave the best feeling, especially I know you have a military background, so that's probably even harder.
Yeah, yeah, no man left behind for sure. There's some of that going on. But at the end of the day, I had to think about myself, my own mental stability, and you know, be a little bit selfish in the sense that like if I can't take care of myself, I can't take care of anybody else.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt. No, it's difficult at times. I know that that is definitely true. But let's see. I think what are we doing today? We're doing something.
Are we? Uh, we're the Article One stuff. I think
That's
the
right. That's right.
the what are we doing?
Yeah, we're reviewing
Going
Article
back
One.
over things that we might need to add,
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
weren't covered. Like
yeah.
we were talking offline about whether the Bill of Rights needs to be added into Article One. I know I mentioned power. Would it make sense to go in powers denied Congress? Um,
Definitely. Let's. So yeah, I did some work, but before we jump into that, I just wanted to. Um, I don't remember what I wanted to do. Oh, last week. Apologies for last week. We missed a stream. Wasn't There was some not feeling well going on, so we skipped last week. And
yeah,
apologies for the late start today. Having some technical difficulties that we were working out, but we managed to get things rolling. So apologies for
yeah.
that.
But,
It's
and
all
and
Josh's
last week
fault.
was all me. Oh, it absolutely was. I was about this close to a nervous breakdown. So
And that
like,
and that's what
but
facilitated
but
your
I,
whole
yes
job
it did.
quitting and all that stuff. So
And yeah, but I mean, I should have powered through it, but I didn't.
no, you know what? I think that that is a very bad misnomer, and it I don't think it's good for us as a whole. It's just like, oh, well, just suck it up and pull. It's like,
Yeah,
why do I have to suck it up? Why can't I just be like, no, it's something that is affecting me badly. Why do I have to continue doing it? It's like, oh no, just stay in that abusive relationship. You're fine. Let them beat the crap out of you. It's okay.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
suck it up.
her CDs, were in his truck, and she had to get them out of there. So she had to stay
That makes sense.
because
Those
because the
CDs are
CD.
important.
Yeah, like that's a all right,
I
kids. If you don't know what CDs are, we used to listen to music on them back in the day.
I had some custom mixes on there that I can't get back.
Exactly. Love those mixes. Couldn't find it on Spotify for some reason.
Exactly. So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way a little bit about what happened last week. But no, we're here today. So we're wrapping up Article One, and me and Josh had a conversation about this stuff, like he said offline, as far as how we want to um, move forward with what we're doing and try to understand the sort of like how we want to progress through the Constitution, because one of our main goals here is not only just education, looking at things and seeing what they mean and what's actually there in the Constitution, but also to make people think. That's a big part of it is to critically think and try to understand what we're working with, and how do we make things better overall, like we're better for everyone. um, that's our goal, is how do we make things better for all of us. So in that vein, we were talking about, like, we've gone through and we've done all of the articles, and or not all of the articles, all of the sections in Article 1. And there's a lot. There's a lot there, just in the legislative branch. So, how are we going to take that, form it into something, and then be able to discuss off that? So, me and Josh had the conversation. What we're going to do is we're going to work through, offline, in taking all of our suggestions that we have in here for each one, and then kind of going section by section, and rewriting what we feel is sort of a conglomeration of everything, and what, the quote unquote common person, I guess you could call us, um,
The little
you know,
people.
a little what?
The little people.
The little people, the average citizen. What we feel, hey, does this make sense? Does this not make sense, given the 250 years of history? So, but there is one thing that we've been messing a little bit. Well, I've been messing with a little bit with AI, and I know Josh does as well. And in trying to assist with, you know, does this make sense? Does all of this stuff? How does all of this like come together? And we had the conversation. You can get very explicit, and we've talked about this on every time we have a show about guardrails and about what we can put up to sort of, keep people on the road so they're not driving off the cliff and crashing and burning, right? Well, the more detail or the more explicit you get about things in a constitution, the the harder it is to allow for growth and change, right? Because to change something in a constitution, it should be a lot harder than it is to change a law that is done by the legislative branch. So, when we're sitting here and we're looking at, let's see, what section 4 was, the I believe is the elections. If we're sitting here and we're saying, okay, well, you have to have, like, if we give it explicit detail on, well, this needs to be done and you need to have these three things, and this, 50 years from now, those things might be obsolete. And to try to get to change those things in a constitution is not going to be easy. So the founding fathers, when they created the Constitution, I think that they were actually kind of smart by leaving things a little ambiguous, uh,
Yeah, agreed.
to where it's open for interpretation, and it doesn't put very stringent rules on things. Like, we've given the example a few times with, you're filling out a form and you got to put in your address. And if you're filling out something online, like, okay, you got to put in your zip code. Well, zip code in the U.S. is just numbers, right? It doesn't. It's always numbers. If you go to other countries, your zip code is not always numbers. There's letters in there too, in other countries. So if you limited your form to only always accepting numbers in the zip code, then you're not allowing for expansion into the rest of the world. You're not allowing for change as much as you think you are, trying to keep people from doing things that they shouldn't. So that's one thing that's come up in, whenever we're looking at rewriting things, and, as we try to formulate what we want in here, and how, just this here, right here, early voting for a minimum up to 4 weeks before election day. Do you put that in a constitution?
I mean,
Do you put in something that says you have to allow early voting for a minimum of 2 weeks before election day, up to 4 weeks? Like, why would you say, well, it can only be this amount in a constitution? Like, why would you just say early voting is required, and then let
well,
go ahead?
I was going to say The only reason I can see to put it in there is because I know that it's been argued about so much, at least over the last, 20 or 30
Yeah.
years. Like that it's such a point of contention that you know, it creates this issue around something that seems so simple, and
Yeah.
that, like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, what's the big deal? Um, like, and why are we arguing about this? But people are arguing about it, so, like, why not instantiate it, so that it stops the argument, and so maybe people can argue about some, or have a discussion about something that's a little bit more important.
Yeah.
Um, but but then, you think about that, and it's like, well, why are people arguing about this in the first place? Like, why is it such a big deal, and why are you focusing on this when there's so many other problems that are bigger issues, bigger deals. And when it comes to, like, the voting thing, it really comes down to, you're talking about power. People are trying to position things and position themselves in better places, and to basically rig the game for them and theirs, and their team.
Yeah.
Uh, and and that's the stuff that needs to stop. I feel like we were just talking about offline, where it's like, no, like, can can we just agree that we're not going to agree on everything, but let's at least try to get along, work together for the betterment of us all. But we can't seem to do that in our current state, in our current iteration. At
Well,
least, and I don't know if it's something that has to do with the human condition, or genetics, or the way people are built, or the way that we're educated, or what it is, but we can't seem to find some kind of equilibrium or homeostasis when it comes to that.
you're not
Somebody else?
wrong. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I was about done with that little rant, as far as, I mean, and going back to the including something versus excluding something. Like, if you extract it out, like, I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about, how the Democratic Party, they have 16, like, groups, or, I guess you would call them identities, that they're basically saying that they cater to. And then, when you look at all, they said, when you looked at all 16 of them, they were basically talking about around, I think, 76% of the population. And and then, they're like, oh man, we're so exclusive, or we're so inclusive, is what they said. And that's how the Democratic Party tries to, present itself. But then, when you think about it on the other side, by including that 76%, you're excluding 24% of the population, and
Yep.
then they feel like, well, now I have no place here. And, like, I mean, I even, in a personal experience, I remember, when I worked at Sutter Health, they started doing these inclusivity groups, and, they labeled these 4 groups, and I'm like, these aren't inclusivity groups; these are exclusivity groups. That's the way I was looking at it, because, like, if you don't belong to one of these 4 groups, you're excluded. And so it's like, what are we doing here? Like,
And that actually so there's a lot there when it comes to those types of groups, because you you have things that exclude, you know, things that exclude certain types, that usually the ones that they're excluding are the ones that have normally controlled everything. So, like,
right.
um, you have a women's only group, to where something like that. Or, I mean, you could even, yeah, because historically you have a lot of men's only things, right?
Well, or
So,
just by design, or just the way that it ended up. If you want to talk about the patriarchy and all that, like,
see,
yeah,
but that,
The system is designed for a certain group of people.
Yes, and that's well, and the reason it was designed like that is because of those people were in power, and you had that ego of, oh well, men should be the only ones to do this because of that's the way that they were brought up. That's what society was like. And
Yeah,
breaking out of all of that stuff, just from the perspective of, okay, we need to be we need to be less exclusive and more inclusive, and trying to, it's just like, I don't even want to say this, but it's just like women's sports and men's sports. Why don't you allow women to play in men's sports? Why don't you allow men to play in women's sports? Well, it, don't get me wrong. If a woman wants to play in a men's sport, then that'd be fine. Um, if like in high school football, the difference between females and males, or however you want to identify whatever it is, um, if you're talking about a person that is 5 foot, whether it's a male, female, or whatever, versus your 6'4" lineman, and you're trying to get this person that is 5 foot and they're going to try to be a lineman, you might have some problems. You know what I mean? Like it might not end the way you want it to.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Physics is going to work that situation out to be to the person that's 6'4" to their advantage very quickly.
Correct.
Like there's
Exactly. And so you wouldn't put that person in that place. Now, if you had yourself a 6'4" person and a person that is 6'2" and is built of the same type or shape, I don't have a problem with it. I don't care what's hanging wherever. If they want to get in there and they want to face off against that person, man, let them.
yeah.
It's
Well,
their
I mean,
choice.
yeah, or like even if you're in a bar, right? Like some kid walks up to me, or some guy walks up to me who's 5'5", 130 pounds, and starts
So about
popping
your
off to
size?
me. Yeah, about my size, right?
Sorry.
um,
Sorry.
and 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 starts popping off to me at like I versus someone who's 6'4", 240 pounds, and just completely jacked. I'm going to, from a risk management
Correct.
scenario,
Yes.
I'm going to look at that situation a little bit differently. The guy who's 5'5" be like, dude, if you don't get out of my face, I'm gonna lay you out.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who the 6'4" guy, I'm like, like I there's two ways I can look at that situation. It's like, look, am I just gonna man up and get my ass whooped, like, or or am I gonna back down to this dude?
Well, and the funny thing is that guy that's 6'4", 200 whatever pounds, he could be a clumsy and slow and whatever, and that guy that's 5'5" could be, a master, UFC whatever, and could take you out in
Yeah,
one shot. But what you
not
do as a
every.
human,
Yeah, yeah,
you assess what you can see and what you have experienced based on your life, and you make a decision at that point as far as what you want to do. Now you might learn something because of it, and it might change your future risk assessments. But
yeah,
yes, that is what we do as humans. We look at things based on our past experiences, and we try to assess what our next decision is that we're going to make based on our past experiences, right? I mean, that's
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
essentially how that works.
Going back to the inclusivity and exclusivity thing, and I'm wondering if if I can tie this into, what we keep or what we include and what we exclude, like with the and the inclusivity groups. I get it, man. Like if a group of people is a, if they're underrepresented, and like and they they should be represented. They should be have inclusivity groups. They should have a voice. There should be a place for them to go. I
Yes.
100% agree with that. The problem, I think, is that you have the pendulum that's over here all the way over here. And let's just say, like, so society, American society has favored white males, for 200 years, and we're swinging that, and then we decide, okay, well, let's figure out how we can swing that pendulum, like, and move it in a direction. The problem, I think, is that we always swing the pendulum too hard, and then it comes swinging back the other way. Not and now you have these group a group of you might have a group of young men that are they don't want to be a part of the Democratic Party because, look, I can see right here on this page, I don't have a place here.
Yeah.
Like, they're specifically telling me I don't have a place. And it's like, so how do you stop the pendulum, like, somewhere near the middle, and and instead of,
I have a
everybody in the
question.
group saying, oh, hey, you don't have a place here, versus, like, hey, like, why, come hang out with us, like, we want to hear your ideas too.
So, so I guess we could say that pendulum on the one side right now is I hate white males is on
Yeah.
one side, right? Okay. Have we swung too far for the opposite sex of white females? Has that pendulum gone too far in their direction? I guess is
I I don't personally, I don't know if it has. I don't like I don't necessarily feel a certain way about it, but I know some people do.
oh
And
yes, 100%.
yeah, and I think, and maybe that's a problem, just in the sense of, like, if you have this group over here that now they feel like they're being mistreated, you know the and they don't want to engage in the conversation. They don't want to put their ideas forth. They feel like they're being shouted down. Whatever it is, like, in and of itself, that to me is a problem, because you're cutting people out of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and that's where you get a lot of the controversy. You have a group of people that are asking for a seat at the table. But the problem is they might get a seat at the table, but that doesn't mean that anybody else at the table is listening to them.
Yeah. Sure.
So they've been given something that supposedly looks like they're being included, but they're actually not. And the thing is there's been so many seats that have been given up that still are not being included, that now the part I don't want to say the party, but the group of people that still have control and have given up these quote unquote seats as a, oh well, okay, well, let's shut these people up because we won't, so hey, you got a seat, be quiet, I don't want to hear you say anything else, you got the seat, just shut up and let us do what we were already doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, but wait a second, no, we wanted more than just the seat. We wanted to be included as part of the group that was sitting at the table. We didn't just want to sit at the table. We wanted to be a part of the table, if that makes sense. It's like one of those. It's like a lunchroom, a high school lunchroom or middle school lunchroom thing, to where, oh well, the table, you can fit 20 people at the table, and over here on this end you have, you have the popular guys. And then there's this new thing that comes out from the principal. It's like, oh, hey, you can't have just one group of people sit at a table, where you have to have other people sit at your table, or other groups or whatever. So, they bring in other people and sit them at the table. It doesn't mean that those people have to include them in the conversation. Hey, you're already sitting at our table. What more do you want? It doesn't mean that we actually have to socialize and include you in anything. And I think that is
Yeah.
the bigger, that's like the problem. Like, hey, yeah, women went through the women's suffrage and did all of this stuff so that they could get a right to vote and get a right for this and be able to do that, and you know have the ability to have a bank account without having a man sign for them, those type of things. But it doesn't mean that the people in power are actually listening to them at all. All they're doing is it's like, okay, here, yeah, here, take your toy and go play. Like, we don't actually think that you mean anything. We're
Yeah,
still
you
the
can
ones
put
that are
policies.
running this.
Yeah, you can put policies in place to make people like share the same space, but you can't actually make people include them or make them listen to that voice or that those ideas or whatever it ends up being. Yeah, I don't
Exactly.
disagree with you here. And
Well, I mean,
and it should be.
go ahead.
Well, like I'm thinking of it in the sense of it. I I don't know if it should if it's something that should be taught where it's like we should be telling people like everybody's ideas matter, everybody's voice matters, and that everybody has something to add to society or the conversation that
I
or
don't dis.
or, or that or that you should at least hear them out. I like
Yeah. So, yes, I understand what you're saying, but anytime you make a generalization like that, there's always outliers. Yes, we should listen to everybody that has an idea, but when that person hasn't comes in and says, "Oh, by the way, half of you should be killed and shouldn't be allowed here,"
yeah.
I don't think that
And then
that person has
sometimes you
they
make
should
that
have a
person
voice.
president. Like
Do what?
sometimes you make that person. I said sometimes you make that president the president of the United States. Like I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but
No, I agree. But if you take, you can take both ends of that, if you want to call it the political spectrum, to where, one of them says, well, these people shouldn't be here, shouldn't be included. And then you have the other side that says, hey, whatever's yours is mine.
and and you would hope that there are some guardrails in place, or that there's enough of a voice from the majority in there where they're like, hey, no, that's wrong. Like, we're not going to do that. Like, or like think of it in like data science. Like, you have all this data together and it's trending in a certain direction, but then you have these two or three outliers that are out in the middle of nowhere. You ignore them. So like we should be ignoring, to a certain extent, we should be
It's
ignoring those outliers.
I don't know if you seen the meme to where it shows the one person over on the side and they're like saying something. It shows the group of people over on the other side and they're all talking, and this person says something, and then the next frame is that person standing there, and then one person from the group like coming out and going, yeah, okay, and then they go back to the group is talking, and that person is just standing there. It's like, thanks.
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
we're gonna.
Yeah.
But
Thanks. Thanks for your input, but yeah, we're gonna get back to it.
we're gonna go
Like,
back to this. So the problem that I'm coming, like, if you have, and this is where you get those echo chambers, right? This is the problem with that type of thing is you have, if you have that group of people, again, like I said, they're the ones that own the table, they're the ones that have been at the table, and they're giving out these quote unquote honorary seats, or like, okay, yeah, we'll give you this, we'll give this to you because we still have control, we still have
yeah,
all of the, we have the popularity still, we still have all of whatever. And then eventually they start giving up seats because they have to, because they're, if they don't give up a seat, it's kind of like, a threat of, okay, well, we'll give you something to placate you, right?
yeah. You do
And
something like,
then
well, we're gonna break up your entire group if you don't give up these seats.
exactly.
Whatever.
And so now what you're doing, or what they're eventually doing, is they're like seeing a promise, like, oh, wait a second, you know we had, and I'm using an arbitrary number, you can make it 100, 1,000, or whatever. We had 10 people that were all like-minded, that we're all here, and we've had to give up 4 of those seats to other people. Hey guys, we're running out of our, like, we're not going to be in charge of things anymore if we keep giving up these seats. So then what they do is, okay, so let's find somebody that fits what they want but still holds our values, our ideals, and let's get them in here. And what we can do is we can use our power and influence to make them do what we want by offering them things, or giving certain things to them so that they'll still be in our group, and they will be a representative of a different, someone that's not in our group.
Yeah, you make concessions that to them that mean very little to you, and actually gains them
It
not a
doesn't really
lot
do
in
anything
the.
for them. Yeah, yeah. We're,
Yeah,
we're still in control. We're still doing this. But hey, now they think they have 6 seats when actually they have 3. They used to have
yeah,
4. We've taken one of those seats back, and they think they have 6. So they think that they are in control, but we know they're not, because we've made sure that that doesn't happen. So, and that's what you have, now, if we correlate this to our where we're at currently, you have that with a wealthy versus, I don't want to say poor, but a middle class. You have the wealthy that is currently holding all of those seats, and then the middle class or the working class is thinking, oh well, we have more seats than we actually do. When the working class doesn't have, they don't have crap. They ain't got nothing. I mean,
yeah. Very very
yeah,
little voice, very little um,
you
power.
know, if
Let's
you
put it
take if
this
you
way.
take the 400 seats, or even the 100 seats that are in the Senate, I would say that the working slash middle class probably holds maybe 5 seats in the Senate, maybe 10 to 15 seats in the whatever that other place, the House of Representatives, the House. I really don't think that the actual working class has much control over anything. It's still being controlled by the elite or the wealthy or in my personal opinion. And
Well,
you know,
you can see that from things as simple as the tax code.
oh
Like,
yeah,
you have. I was listening to a podcast. It was a Scott Galloway thing, where he was talking about. He's like, you have earners and you have owners, and then that's how he classified them. And you could say that the earners are the working class and the owners are the wealthy or the powerful. And it's like he's like this is the system that we're in right now. So you want to be an earner or you want to be an owner?
yes,
Because owners are taxed around 10%.
yep,
10% are tax, whereas earners are taxed anywhere between 25 and
40.
upwards of 50%. Well, when you include state and all
Oh
that
yeah,
other stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and
oh
and
it's not
like it,
he's not wrong.
that yeah, no, he's not wrong at all. Um, so, and I mean, just for that simple fact alone, like
Hmm.
you can see the way the wind is blowing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And tying this all back into what we're talking, Article 1, the review that we're trying to do. This all came from our conversation about guardrails, and how do you keep it to where you don't allow this to happen. And I don't know that there's a way to keep it from happening. I don't know that there's anything that you can put in place that is going to stop this from happening. Um, because
That's the
this all started back in, I think it was before, right around Nixon, before Nixon, right? When they started doing I believe it was when the Republican Party changed to the party of conservative values instead of, conservative politics, if that makes sense. When they started, southern, with the whole southern, this is This is well documented as far as this. What happened is they started appealing to the Southern Christian white, like that populace, the people that always go out and vote, the people that are always like they were appealing to those people, and that's what they've done, and they've continued to do that, and it has, I mean, and it's worked for them. I mean, the fact that your issues that people are voting on are things like gay rights and abortion.
Yeah.
Like, we're not voting on taxes. We're not voting on policy. We're voting on feelings.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's crazy because when you think about it, it's like how is voting on that going to make your life better or
It
worse?
doesn't. It doesn't at all.
If you're gay, which I believe, I think they're estimating somewhere around 10% of the human population is fits somewhere into the LGBTQ paradigm. That you're still like, and I mean, I could understand like being a one issue voter in that sense, but then it's like, okay, well, yeah, like I okay, now I get more rights or I get more recognition or whatever it is. I still don't have any money. I still don't have any resources. I still don't like, or I don't have
Well,
enough resources. And I have to scrounge for everything that I have.
you're
Um,
absolutely right.
uh, yeah, and so, like,
Well,
yeah,
that's
that
what they.
that to me,
Well, that's what the wealthy did. The wealthy took that on. They took on because then they don't have to actually do anything for the people.
right?
The wealthy,
Yeah,
them
and somehow these
backing the
people think that,
Republican
oh, yeah,
Party, and then these people voting on literally single issues or feelings, they no longer have to actually do anything for them, because all they have to do is say, well, if you don't vote for us, you're going to let babies die.
yeah,
You
or
are a baby killer if you don't vote for us. I mean, and who wants to be? And nobody want to kill babies. Well, I
yeah.
mean,
Well, I did when I worked at Sutter Health because like every time I went in there, I was thinking, man, like I can cause an outage tonight, man. Whole NICU is gonna go
whole
down.
NICU's going
Like,
down.
like we are
I was
doing this.
working up on that floor, and I heard some noises I don't want to hear no more. So NICU's gone. Yeah,
Getting sick of those kids.
it's terrible. No, but I mean, but that's the thing. So you're getting votes on something that doesn't doesn't actually do anything for you, and you're voting on this stuff, and then they come in and they take more stuff away from you. It's like, well, hey, you know, at least you're not a baby killer. What?
Yeah, and at least gay people can't get married.
I, you know,
You know,
oh, never mind. You're paying more taxes. You can't afford your food. The prices are going up. Never mind any of that stuff. No. That doesn't
inflation
matter.
shooter. That
Come
none of that
on.
matters. Yeah,
Nobody cares
that's
about that stuff.
and
No.
that's great. That's
You're
yeah, and
silly.
then yeah,
Want
like
more
you said,
money? Oh, whoa. Stop
you get
that.
people ginned up on yeah, you get people ginned up on feelings and on this stuff, and it's like
So how do you stop it?
I've had I don't know because I've had this conversation with my dad, and he's a very religious person, like and when the whole gay marriage thing was going on, 15 years ago, uh, or so, like he was very prominent in going out into the communities and different religious groups and stuff like that, and campaigning to, I think it was Prop 8 that that made illegalized gay marriage in California, and it passed. And I was like, why do you care? And it's like he had this idea in his head that the
Now he's going to
that
have
they
to
were
get gay married.
that they were going to force religions that and religious institutions to for gay marriage, that they'd have to do gay marriages, and then that was somehow going to affect um,
Going to ruin his
his
religion.
just his spiritual, like not spiritual journey, like his spiritual place in the world, that was going to somehow affect that. And like, I try to understand that.
If
And
you jump through enough hoops,
yeah, no, you're not wrong. Like, yeah, like, and you can mentally, you can twist yourself into whatever pretzel you want. That's your prerogative. Go for it.
correct. Yep.
Yeah, but you're right. At some point, it's like, hey, you're being a little bit ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
and even if they did do that, even if they did come for that, it's like, okay, like, then then let them get
But they
married.
can't.
Like,
But they can't.
huh?
There's this whole thing,
I
separation of
know.
church and state. They can't put
Yeah,
rules on religion. You know.
yeah. I
You
it's
know. Well,
and
and we're going through like it, so there's a you have a problem, and we're definitely going to have conversations on this later in for other things. But marriage, from what it is, marriage is a religious ceremony, should not be tied to marriage as a government institution. They should be separate.
yeah, yeah.
In my personal
Marriage should
opinion,
be
you should be able to go to the because the only reason that you get married from a government perspective is so that it makes it easier for things like uh, long term care, or saying that this person has the ability to you could do the same thing legally without getting married, you with a power of attorney and doing all the proper legal documents and everything. You can have the same abilities as if you were to get married. It just makes it easier, to get married. Because all you got to do, you go to the thing, you pay $100 for a marriage certificate, two people sign it, and boom, hey, you're married. And then all of that other stuff gets taken care of because you just show your marriage certificate and say, hey, look, we're married. So now I can give this person health care, right? Now I can, this person, I can put them as a beneficiary. Oh, you don't even have to be married to be a beneficiary. It's just if the person does die, their spouse automatically, according to the government, has the ability to do what they want with your estate because you're married. Um,
yeah.
I, all of that stuff, it's all a government institution. It doesn't. There's nothing on the marriage certificate that says anything about you will, like, you take your vows. None of that crap's on a marriage certificate.
Right.
It's literally a government institution with two people saying that they're okay with this other person having a power of attorney or have the ability to, speak for them in different instances. That's all it is from a government perspective. And it was just an easy way for the government to say, okay, these two people are, whatever. I mean, when you take it from a religious perspective, it's a little bit different. It's handled different for different religions, as far as what marriage is, what it takes to be married. The whole Catholic and divorce thing, and whether or not you can get divorced. You're not supposed to. If you're divorced, you can't remarry. Da da da. All that stuff from different religions. That's all in the religious aspect of it. It doesn't have anything to do with the government, and that's where a big problem comes in, to where religion should be separate from government. Period. There should be no overlap. So, from that perspective, and the whole gay marriage thing, two people should be able to go to the government and say, hey, I want a marriage certificate. We're going to sign this. Cool. We're now seen as spouses. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, you want to get married? I need. Oh, wait, no, you lost your job. Never. Oh, wait, I want some of them VA benefits, bud.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying, like for most people to get, whenever they get married because, hey, I need health insurance. Hey, what happens if one of us gets sick and we need to who's going to say whether or not you want the plug pulled?
Yeah. Well, and my VA benefits go up if I have dependents. And so if
There you
I'm
go.
married, that's one dependent right there. Then if I get her knocked up, that's another one.
But that's what
But
I mean, you've seen movies. You've seen it. What is the one movie with, I think it's Adam Sandler and somebody else?
Chuck and Larry.
Chuck and Larry. Yeah.
Yeah, with, Kevin James.
Kevin James. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
It
both firefighters. I forget why they did it like exactly, but yeah, it was for financial reasons. For
correct. And but the thing is, and this is what's so funny about it is that's why most people get married.
well, yeah,
I
and
mean,
the
people
kids
can
and
say whatever they want to say. Like if you look at, I mean, you take it back to England. We're gonna, make some Bridgerton references here. You could only marry of the same class. Like you had to be of a certain social class to marry someone in that social class, or you were shunned. Like there's a reason for that because they didn't want poor people to gain the same status as rich people.
yeah,
I
yeah, they didn't want people jumping the line.
correct. What? So it's about money? Yeah.
Well, and yeah, like from that perspective, it really marriage. You're to a certain extent you're creating a business. You're pooling resources. You're pooling,
Creating a
like
partnership.
yeah, yeah, it's the same thing. And we are way off track here. Like,
Yes, we are. But anyways, but how do you prevent that? How do you prevent going off the rails or getting around that from a constitutional perspective to not allow people to take advantage of things? And
I don't think you can. Like you, everything. I always come back to like you have to change people's mindsets, and I don't know how to do that on a like on a not at least a country scale or even a global scale to where like there there would have to be some huge catalyst to change the way that people think about themselves, the way they think about other people, like um, and and how they move through the world. I,
so,
but then again, I take that back though because I think most people do care about other people. It's just that the people that are let's call them narcissists. The people that want more power, they always want more. That they want to keep climbing that ladder. They want more money. They want more social influence. Whatever it ends up being, those are the people that seem to end up in those positions. I they want them not for the purpose of oh hey I want to go into public service because I want to make the world a better place. I want to go into public service because it affords me power and it puts me in a position um, to collect and hold on to power. And so and how do you weed those people out of the system itself? And I don't even know if you can. Uh, I mean, I'd be interested to hear what a psychiatrist or what like a even like an anthropologist or something like that would have to say about that.
yeah, it would be being able to have someone even from that mindset that we'll have to look for someone to do that we can talk to about that because from that perspective to to get that mindset shift is going to be. I mean, you have to obviously start somewhere, but the question is how do you even?
Yeah, I wonder how because you hear about other countries that have kind of done this or that are kind of my they're like minded in the sense that they can all kind of agree that hey we're in this together. I think like Sweden or Finland or one of those Nordic countries over there in Europe somewhere where they've kind of gotten this down, but they one they have a smaller population and two they 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 all kind of come from the same background. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of geological diversity, and there's not a lot of diversity in the sense of ethnic backgrounds and different things. They all they're like
Nobody
when it
wants to
comes
live up in
to
the cold. Nobody wants to live
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I think
I lived in Alaska for 4 years. I'm like, like, I, I'll go kick. I mean, I'll go, but I'll go kicking and screaming. You know, if you ever try to send me back there.
exactly. That's what I said. Nobody wants to live there, and they have nobody wants to
Hey,
eat their food, and I think that that's one of the ways that they keep it simple.
yeah,
But there are I think that there are ways, like even from like the Netherlands perspective, which the Netherlands is quite further south than Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Um, the Netherlands has a lot of stuff like that, and then there's a lot of European nations, and I almost wonder if it's because of the age of those countries.
because they've just been instantiated for longer. Like
They've
they've
just
had a
been
longer time
around
to
for
figure it
so long. If
out.
it's, I mean, you're talking a lot of those countries have like thousands of years. Like we've been here for 250.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
and
know.
it seems like we're always in some kind of turmoil or some kind of upheaval, and there's never any uh, there's never any equal there hasn't been any equilibrium, like
Yeah.
not for any long period of time,
And I think
where it's
the
like
size,
everybody's
like
getting along. It's like, hey, this works. Well, and yeah,
yeah,
we're always increasing in size. We're always and we're always saying to a certain, except for maybe right now, and a few times in history, we're like, hey, come on in, like,
yeah,
the weather's nice here, like, come hang out with us.
yeah. Well, immigration's a whole other thing. Um,
Yeah.
that's another episode. We are supposed to be doing Article One review. I know we've not really done that for the past hour, but do what?
I thought that's what we've been doing for the last time.
Yeah, yeah, reviewing Article One. Well, I mean, it all goes back to the whole guardrails thing. I mean, and even moving forward into this other articles that we're going to be looking at, we're going to be in the same position we are now. When you're talking about how do you put up guardrails so certain things don't happen, and that it's actually I'm gonna pull us in here now to what we're supposed to be doing. One of the things in the conservative and libertarian constitution, they both focus on fiscal responsibility. Like the progressive constitution doesn't lay anything out from this perspective. In all honesty, the progressive constitution really doesn't add many changes at all. Um,
Yeah.
it it really doesn't. I think the only new addition they have is no state shall select judges of its courts through popular election. I think that's the only thing that they really add to it. Um, yeah, wait a second. Congress may, by law passed by both houses, sign by the authorize actions by the president that it may veto by the concurrent vote of both houses of Congress. So if you look at some of the things that are affecting, like, so you have Congress. These are some, I think, some of the bigger sticking points from the legislative branch. Once they pass a law, the only way to stop someone from interpreting that law a certain way and enacting that law in a certain way is for them to rewrite the law to account for that particular exploitation, right? They can't stop them from actually doing anything until they rewrite the law. And then by them trying to rewrite the law, it has to go back through both houses. It has to go through the approval, has to do presidential veto, has to do all of that stuff. So in a lot of the constitutions, they're leaving an out for Congress to say or review and say, hey, you're not allowed to do that, and stop them from doing that until the law is rewritten, essentially. Or that's not what we meant. Or leaving, like, and this is, giving, you have to have approval of both houses and stuff like that. So you can essentially stop someone from instead of, like, what is it? Socratic, is it the Socratic oath that doctors take? What is it? Hippocratic oath? What is it? Do no
Hippocratic
harm?
oath.
Hippocratic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hippocratic.
yeah, the do no harm. First do no harm. And I don't know that there's anything in place that the legislature has right now, aside from rewriting laws that have already been passed, to stop that, other than the judicial branch saying, "Hey, that's not constitutional. That doesn't work out in here."
Yeah.
But most of the time, whenever Congress passes a law, it's already gone through the checks of is this constitutional or not. Then it goes through judicial review based on, hey, they're doing something. It's already happening. Are they allowed to do this based on current law? So it's literally, ask for forgiveness. That's what we're doing. It's an ask for forgiveness is where we're at. Um, you're not asking for permission. You're just doing it and then saying, hey, stop me. Um, so the constitutions, the conservative, libertarian, and progressive constitution, all give an out for the legislature to do something besides rewriting laws and having to repass them. Um, but the conservative and libertarian, they go a little further with the money issue. So when it comes to Congress, they give the executive branch, like them giving up their quote unquote powers to the executive branch, having that ability to veto certain things that they're doing is one part of them being able to continue to say, no, we make the laws. You can't interpret them however you want. You have to do it by, which we did, by the way that we passed it and the mentality that we used. And then the second one is reining in the budget. The conservative one creates a board of treasury, 3-year budget resolution, revenue appropriate linkage, presidential duty, can use line item veto if Congress fails to match spending and revenue. That is a big part of the conservative constitution, is that board of treasury. And then the libertarian one goes even further, and links the ability to spend money based on GDP, fiscal responsibility. I think it's like 60%. Where is it? Right here. Balanced budget clause. And this is something that they put in there, requires revenues and expenditures to be equal except in emergencies. So when you look at it from that perspective, and the only other thing would be getting people in, which is your gerrymandering that's going on right now. I think those are the 3 big issues with the legislative branch. Are there any others that I'm missing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, and going back to the financial thing, I think that's another, uh, like, at least it would be a lever of how do you, and I think that maybe we should explore that more is you, because we talked about this before, where we got to get money out of politics, like, because money is resources, money is power, and the idea that that the money is so much wrapped up in politics and is such a big part of it, and like and it's such a big draw for people that are like, oh, hey, I'm sure there's people looking at it from the perspective of like, hey, if I get into this, I can be part of the upper class, I can be part of the rich, I can be, uh, I can get myself ahead in this way, right? Where it should be, no, I want to do this because like I want to make things better. I I
Yeah.
I want to have that civic virtue, and I don't necessarily like. I think that would at least be like some guardrails that we could place around that, and the financial responsibility, and like probably stiff penalties, like if that's if those rules are broken, when it comes to the finances.
Well, that's if
And
go ahead.
in that, I was just going to say, and transparency in that.
So And we talk about transparency um, from that perspective. Transparency looks different to different people. Um, when you're talking about transparency from a budget, do you go down to the last penny spent? Do you keep it from a department standpoint? Do you keep it like, oh well, project standpoint? Like there's, how far down that rabbit hole do you want to go with accountability for expenditures, as well as hey, oh look, they have a line item for future space laser. Let's dig down into that. What are they spending money on? Those are the types of things that it's like, okay, what is going on here? Because I don't know that there's ever going to be a time when we as a country, as a planet, as a solar system, are not going to have some sort of quote unquote enemy. I mean, I think that it's messed up that we have those, because I don't. Again, that goes back to the human condition that you were talking about. Like, how do we make it better for everyone? How do we get everybody on the same page to want the best for not only themselves but for other people? How do you get that mentality change? And we've said about it before. You can look at things like Star Trek. Hey, look, we have the Federation. Look, everybody on planet Earth is all happy-go-lucky or whatever, and now we're fighting space wars. I don't know that we're ever going to get out of that because of the human condition, because of the, hey, I know better and I want more, so I should have it, versus, hey, we can all benefit from this. Like, because what one person is happy with doesn't mean that another person's going to be happy with it.
Sure, but just because one person has one thing and one person has another, hopefully those are the things that make them happy, doesn't mean that they have to those things that one person has versus the things that the other person has don't necessarily have to clash. And I think that is the problem of the human condition, is that a lot of people look at it from the perspective of, oh well, this makes me happy, so this should make you happy. And so I'm gonna beat you over the head with this until it makes you happy.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
like
Or
I,
if it doesn't make you happy, then I'm just going to take what you have because you can't be happy.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I
you
mean, if
can't
you,
be happy with what I want to give you.
yeah. So I mean, even if you take it, okay, you take all the humans in the world and you give them each their own planet. You're going to have people fighting over. Oh well, even if you gave them all an Earth type planet, they're still going to be fighting over another person that has an Earth type planet because they want two planets instead of just one. That's what it's going to be. And then they're going to talk to other people around them and say, hey, look at the planets that these guys got over here. We should take those planets from them because, well, they're not doing nothing with them, and we should have more planets. Like it, like there's no. People are always going to want more. It's never going to. There's always going to be somebody that's going to want more than what they have because that's what they are.
I'm just curious to know what, or if there's ever been any studies done, on, like what percentage of of, of people have that mentality. I mean, are we talking about 30% of people? Are we talking
I
about 20%? Like, are we talking about 70%?
I
Like,
think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people have that mentality of, well, I can have more, or I should have more because, I want more and I deserve more. But also, just for the simple fact of people, it's the whole keep it up with the Joneses thing. Well, they got a new car. I should have a new car. Why can't I have a new car? Well, they got a new
well,
TV. I want a new TV. Why can't I get a new TV?
and, and and I guess if you were living in some kind of squalor, or like in a hut, like if you got a person living in a hut in Africa or whatever it is, but even then, like I've heard that I think there's been studies done that some of those people are uh,
They have 3 jugs of water and I only have one. I want 3 jugs of water.
But
Man,
I
you
think
get,
there's
like
been
I
studies
said.
done that those people are actually happier, like measurably
Oh yeah.
happier
Oh yeah.
than than a lot of people that say live in the United States. For me and for me personally, the idea of not just being happy where I am with what I have, with the people around me, like and never being okay with hey, this is just the way that it is now, like
Yeah.
is absolutely exhausting to me.
It is.
Like
It
that you
is.
cannot just enjoy this moment right here that we're having because you're always thinking about what else can I get? What else,
Yep.
like what
Well,
more can I get?
doom scrolling.
And that cycle never ends.
Correct.
And I don't see how you could ever become happy from that because as soon as you get the next thing, then it's like, okay, well, what else can I, like what else can I
It
what else
doesn't,
can I
and
have?
it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really sucks about it is it doesn't stop. It keeps going, and there's no way. I mean, it's just like you take and you look at it. Okay, we'll just. I mean, elephant in the room. You get a person that has you know more wealth than 99% of the people in this world, and they're looking for ways to make more, to get more, to preserve their ability to do whatever they want whenever they want. They don't want that taken away from them.
And even though nobody's really coming for it. Like let's be real about that. Uh, yeah.
So,
I exhausting, like I said.
oh
They
yeah,
to not and like I was gonna say was then you get to the end of your life and it's like, did you actually enjoy any of that? Did you stop to smell the roses? Did you like and just say, hey, look at all of this that I have, and and look at what it's done for me. Look at how it's enhanced my journey or made my experience better, or just enjoying it in that moment. And I'm sure people like that probably do have those moments, but I would venture a guess that they are few and far between.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's because they're constantly having to do that type of stuff, and I also think like you when you look at certain people, and this is one of those things that I found interesting. You look at the average person that doesn't have the the ability to have people do things for them, or have the resources. That's the word I'm looking for. To where your average person, like if you look back through history, the way humans started is, you had to have people go hunt your food, or go plant for your food, or collect your food, or make the clothes, or do all of these things in order to have stuff. And then there were people that didn't do those things that benefited off of them. And you have that now to where you have a lot of times, when, hey, I have to drive here, it's going to take an hour to drive here. You have some people that use that time to work because they can, because they're not the ones driving, versus the other people that don't have that ability because they spend that time driving. So,
Yeah, I think about that with school all the time. Like I've thought about getting a Tesla just because it's driverless, and then I could do other stuff in the car you know
but
while I drive back and forth to school.
exactly, you could study, you could do your homework, you could do a lot of things during that time that you're going back and forth, that you're investing your time in. It's just like, if and this is what a lot of people go back to, the homesteading thing, and they farm their land, and they have no debt from an extent of, hey, all of this stuff is paid for. Yeah, I have to pay my taxes, so I have to make money in some way, shape, or form, but for the most part, they plant and they harvest all of their food. They get, they'll have a well or something that takes care of, They get their essentials taken care of, and then their time is spent not working, but working to live versus working to make money so that you can live. So they get enjoyment out of that part of, hey, I am producing for myself to be able to live. I have sheep so I can get wool and I can make my own clothes. And, I plant crops so I can make my own food. And I do this so that I have trees and then the trees grow so I can cut them down and I can make boards and, all this stuff. And that is what they spend their life doing, working to have the things that they want versus working to have money to buy the things that they want. So, and a lot of people, they get more self-worth and enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, and good for them. Like, yeah,
But
I think that's great. And I think too, when you were talking about that stuff, I was thinking of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is kind of what you're talking about a little bit, where they and those kind of needs that you're talking about are at the bottom rungs, but it's also
yeah,
like
the most
a
fulfilling.
but if you're enjoying doing that and like you get fulfillment out of that,
Correct.
like I think it also that transfers up the rungs of those
Hmm.
of that hierarchy.
Yep. And then you have someone that does that works for a living to get the things that they want, so that they don't have, so they, instead of spending the time cultivating stuff for themselves, they spend the time cultivating stuff for other people so that they can then buy the stuff that they want. So it's, I mean, you're essentially spending the time doing the same things. It's just you have the ability to get more if you have the, I don't want to say get more. You can get different things if you give your time to somebody else and get paid for it versus taking that time to do things for yourself. So, and then depending on what you feel society has told you that you can get fulfillment out of, whether it's, oh, hey, well, I have nice cars and I drive, or I have nice clothes and I drive a nice car, and I go to these things and people see me and go, wow, I want to be like that person, versus the person that is out in their field planting crops, harvesting crops, taking care of that, taking care of their animals, and living in that world. Which one is more fulfilling? Well, one person is going to say, well, me going out and impressing other people and having other people, wishing that they could be me is gives me more fulfillment than digging in the dirt.
Yeah, and I don't think either one of them are wrong
No, no,
at the end of the day.
I don't say anybody. I don't think anybody's wrong. It's just different types of fulfillment, different things that they want. But then you take it to the nth degree. It's like, oh, well, I need to get as much power and money as I can, and I need to have people that are,
Subservient.
subservient to me. How do you prevent those people from getting in power to take advantage of all of those people that are down there?
Well, we just need to map those genes and just got to kill them at birth.
Map those genes and get rid of the genes.
Yep.
We'll
Who's with
CRISPR
me?
it up. Well, we've figured it out, folks. No more of this
Yeah.
podcast. All we're going to do from now on is we're going to have CRISPR running, mapping genes, and
Yep.
figuring out which one we need
Let's
to
get, let's get the
eradicate.
eugenics started. Let's do this.
Yes, we're a new podcast about eugenics. This one's done. We figured out that we can't fix things by doing this. The only thing we can do is
All right. I'm gonna get a petition
genocide.
started.
Genocide, essentially. Eugenic genocide, right? Isn't that what it would be? Eugenic genocide.
Yeah, something like that.
So next week we're going to be going on to Article 2. The plan is this week we're going to go through and do a write up of what our Article 1 would look like, and in the sections that we want. Are we going to do we want a balanced budget section? Do we want something in there that says, hey, you guys can't put us, trillions of dollars in debt? Do we want that?
I think there should be something in there for that, just because you know, the situation that we're in right now, what are we up to? Like $40 trillion, something like that.
In
I mean,
debt? Oh, good
yeah,
God. I don't know. It's something stupid.
yeah,
Yep, almost 40. 38.8 trillion.
yeah. We're getting there, man. Dude, seeing that number tick like that, that is wild.
You know what's crazy is we've just gone up $100,000 in debt, and that's more than most people will make in a year. I mean, we're
That
sitting here.
is
We're gonna top $1 million, which will be more than most people making it in their lifetime. Yep, there we just went over a million. And the funny thing is and I was having a conversation about this with someone that nobody can fathom what $38 trillion is. You can't. It's impossible for a human to have any
what
type of understanding of what
yeah.
$1 trillion is.
Well, and I don't think it would matter as much if the ratio between what people were making, like, okay, if every person was making $1 million a year, like, like if there was an order of magnitude that was 3 or 4 times like greater as far as what the poorest people in the country had available to them, but the the breadth of it from 38 trillion to $50,000 a year, which I think is the median income in this country
What are you
right
ta-
now.
we've done that.
That,
We've done that almost 10 times over now. Well
yeah,
over 10 times over.
I mean, the it, the idea that in seconds that or minutes that the national government debt will go up more than one person will make in their lifetime is absolutely insane to me.
Well, okay. If you look over here down on the bottom right, living in poverty, 36 million people. I don't know what this was when we started, but I'm pretty sure we could wait a couple minutes and get $36 million.
Yeah, something we're doing something.
So that's $1 a person. I mean, we gotta be real here. A lot of people don't like when you're talking $36 million and 36 million people. That's $1 a person. Okay. I mean, if you take it's not $1 million for every person. $1 million for every person at 36 million people would be a lot. That you'd add what 6 zeros to that. So what's that? 36 trillion. Am I right? Yeah. So if you gave $1 million to every person living in poverty, that would be our national debt right now. And there's
So for
24
every
million U.S. millionaires, which is $24 trillion. That's right down. That's right down below it here. If you look at the U.S.
yeah,
millionaires,
why does it say food stamp recipients next underneath
that's
it?
how many people are on Snap.
Oh.
41 million people on Snap.
Yeah, so if you divide the national debt by the number of people in the country, that's 114,000 dollars in debt
It's right
for
here.
every
It's right
in the
here.
U.S.
Debt per citizen,
Oh, yeah.
$113,000. Debt per taxpayer, 356,000.
Bro.
But this is what okay. So if you food stamp recipients, 41 million. There's 320 some million people. I mean, this is a pretty cool.
I mean, kudos to the person. I mean, to the person that built this.
Okay, so this is North Carolina. Let's see, population 11 million, 200,000 unemployed, 1.3 million food stamp recipients. We have a $769 billion GDP with $54
That's in that
billion
state.
in debt. 7% debt to GDP, right? 5,000. This is the state debt. This is you don't add up. I don't think you add up the state debts to get the federal debt. I don't think that's how that works. I think this is separate. I could be wrong,
That's
but I think
separate.
it's separate. Um, let's check out yours in California there, bud. Look at you with that $4 trillion GDP.
Look,
A million
and the
unemployed.
debt, is that 625 billion?
625 billion debt. Yeah, 15% debt to GDP ratio. You have a GDP of $4 trillion, in-state revenue of 669 billion. Yeah, those are billions.
Can you kind of equate GDP to like income? Like if you were thinking about a person, like a debt to income ratio, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
So if you look at the U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio, in the 60s it was 50%, 80s it was 35, 2000 it was 58, and now it's a little bit more.
124.47.
So our debt is 124% more than our income.
Dude, that makes me sick. I gotta pee real quick.
All right.
Be right back.
Yep. Oh man, there's cool little things on all this stuff. Future Treasury dollars. What is this? Wealth-based, debt-free, non-interest-bearing money issued by the Treasury. Greenbacks. Yep. Silver certificates. Okay. U.S. debt held by foreign countries. This is kind of. Oh, geez. Hidden wealth, asset-backed dollar, precious metal reserves, 1.6 billion. Sorry, 1.6 trillion. I think it's trillion, right? Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. Yep. Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. This is funny. How can you have how that doesn't make sense. Real estate, stock market. That's some phony stuff right there. That's crazy. It's crazy watching this stuff go, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they have stuff hidden wealth saying we have $211 trillion of hidden wealth, which
What does that mean
I think is a
exactly?
crock because the fact that they're saying there's $85 trillion in real estate, it all depends on how you
Evaluated.
value, supply and
Yeah,
demand. $63 trillion in the stock market, $30 trillion in land. It all depends on if someone's willing to pay for it.
it's true.
This is a very interesting
Well, and
interesting site.
technically, it's not hidden because they put it right there on the website. Just saying.
I,
So
That's funny. Yeah, I mean you're not wrong. Debt to the penny.
That's what you keep me around for.
Yeah.
The little insights.
Total public debt outstanding from last month is that right there? I mean, and that's all that that other thing was doing was just taking
Yeah.
the change and watching it go up in real time, quote unquote.
Hmm.
Oh man. Okay. So we need to have something in here. I mean, do you tie it to GDP? I mean, that's GDP is normally
Yeah, we kind of had this discussion. I feel like already.
yeah.
I don't.
Do you
Mm,
tie it to
may,
GDP or do you tie it to income?
well, so if you assume that you can extrapolate out that based on like overall income of, well, I don't know if you do tie it to income though, because then you I feel like you're feeding into the idea that um, that earners are going to pay more taxes, because I want to get away from that.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I don't know if income is a good idea. Uh, and so it's like, okay, so do you start adding in real estate? Do you start, uh,
Well,
you know,
I mean, you'd have to.
where and like, and how do you calculate capital? You know, like like holdings basically. I
I
I
mean,
might be the way to go, just because I don't, what is the actual calculation for that people use for GDP?
well, you can go
That'd be
by the Federal Reserve. We're sitting at 31 billion. Sorry, 31 trillion.
trillion. So our national debt is more than the GDP,
Our
right?
GDP, correct. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Just okay. I don't. GDP increased by 1.4%. I don't.
That doesn't even cover inflation.
No, not at all. Quarter three of 2025 was over 4%. So I don't. Quarter three, quarter
According to
four was bad.
ChatGPT, GDP is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports minus imports.
Yep. Yep. So this is essentially what it is here. They take all of this stuff: personal consumption, private domestic investment, net export of goods and services, all of this other stuff. Which none of this can be fudged. You know.
Right. Yeah, that's my concern. There's got to be a better way.
It's
Now we
it's
need to get
really
an economist in here and
we
tell us what's.
well. I mean, you got to look at it. Well, even us being IT people is really bad because we look at everything with skepticism because we know how easy it is to manipulate things. I
Yeah,
mean,
we look at systems as a whole, and we try to figure out how they can break,
oh
and
yeah,
then how do we prevent them? How do we prevent the most common scenarios uh, of that system being broken?
exactly. Like I think, let's see, 11, 12. No, wait a second. Where did they put the board of where did they put the treasury one? Board
or
of Treasury.
you know,
Here it is. I
with
wonder if.
programming where it's like, okay, when I'm building a function, how do I find all of the constraints and all of the bounds so that no one can ever break my function or create a bug inside my given function or my program.
And then you think you got them all, you put it out, and then you realize that somebody found some more.
Yeah, and I missed like 30. I missed like 30 special cases and five different constraints. And you're like, what am I doing with my life? Like, am I even good at my job?
Do I even know what I'm doing? How did I not see these things? How did
Right?
I not see when this person had their phone in a particular part of the country to where it was splitting between three towers, and it was all sending bits and pieces to different places, and that was going to get mixed up in the way that it all came to. Yeah, no, you didn't account for that scenario.
Quarter of the packets were going here to that tower, quarter of them were going there.
Yeah,
And
it's your fault.
this country had a block on this TCP flag over here, and
Yep. See, you should have known.
should have known.
So this is so here we go. To the extent that the total exceeds the estimated receipts prepared by the Board of Treasury, the budget resolution shall propose legislation raising revenue or borrowing money in an amount sufficient to cover these. Okay. Borrowing money in
Just
accordance with
based
the
on
budget.
tax revenue, maybe. I'm wondering.
So, okay. So even with the
Maybe like
conservative
last
one, yeah, but if you if
year's
you
tax revenue.
but if you look at this, all that they're saying is that you have to the the Board of Treasury shall determine a budget resolution determining the amount of total expenditures for the upcoming 3-year budget period divided into such spending categories as the House may determine, right? To the extent
Mhm.
that this total exceeds the estimated receipts prepared by the Board of Treasury, the budget resolution shall propose legislation raising revenue or borrowing money in an amount. So they're not doing anything to. Hey, as long as you find a way to raise revenue or borrow money, then you can put through whatever you want. They're not. Bills raising revenue or borrowing money in accordance with this budget resolution shall enjoy legislative priority and shall be enacted before any appropriation for that budget cycle may be enacted. This doesn't. I don't see how, if you're allowing them to, hey, you can spend whatever you want as long as you have legislature saying that you're raising the revenue or borrowing money. As long as you can
Yeah,
show how we're going to get the money, we don't care what you spend.
yeah. I think it has to be tied to tax revenue. I
Well, that's not what this is saying, though.
I know that's not what this is saying. I'm saying like the discussion that we're having.
Yeah.
I it it has to be tied to that, and then to a certain extent, maybe with a couple of guardrails, you have to you have to you have to keep tax revenue reasonable, and you're only borrowing money in the case of an emergency, and there has to be like a 3/5 vote or something like that.
Well, that's what the
Where
libertarian one does. The libertarian
yeah, well,
ties your total outlays in any fiscal year should not increase by a percentage greater than the percentage increase in nominal gross national product in the last calendar year ending prior to the beginning of said fiscal year. So this is even further constraining, um, to protect the people against excessive governmental burdens and to promote sound fiscal monetary policies.
you
So
mean like 8% inflation? You know, like that?
yeah. So essentially, what the libertarian one is saying is your total outlays in any fiscal year cannot increase greater than whatever the GDP percentage increase was.
I think that's pretty reasonable because the GDP goes up by what, like somewhere between 0.5% and 1.5% a year.
It can vary, depending on if there was a dip in the recovery or something like that. But I think it's anywhere between like 0 and 5. We'll just, I want to say it
Yeah.
averages somewhere around 2 to 3 if we're lucky. But there's also, let's see, total outlay shall include budget and off budget outlays and exclude redemptions of the public debt and emergency outlays. If inflation for the last calendar year ending prior to beginning any fiscal year is more than 3%, the permissible percentage increase in total outlays for that fiscal year shall be reduced by 1/4 of the excess of inflation over 3%. So they're actually tying the budgets to inflation as well. If inflation goes up more than 3%, then you have to decrease your spending in whatever excess there is and whatever excess over 3% is.
Wouldn't that be a wild idea? Like back in 2020 and 2021, like when inflation was through the roof. Oh, hey, now you got to decrease your government spending. Like you got to go get us our money back.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to. We're not talking about that right now. Let's see. Between the nominal gross product.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about it from a political perspective. I'm just talking about it from the simple perspective of, like, the government went out and borrowed a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
and then inflation went through the roof.
Yep.
And so then you put a guardrail in place. Okay, well, you did that. So now you got to go
You
back
got to
and
go.
get things under control and
Yeah.
get the people. And to a certain extent, maybe you don't get it back, but you stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You at least put a bandage on the wound, maybe a couple of stitches.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So here they say if our revenues exceed the outlays, the surplus shall be used to reduce the public debt until the debt's eliminated. Then there's the emergency stuff, 2/3 of the vote. Let's see.
Yeah, I think the libertarians got it right, man. God bless them.
For each of the first 6 fiscal years after, okay, so they're putting stuff in here to if this is adopted after, if this is, if this clause is adopted. Yeah, it doesn't. So it doesn't say. Let's see here. So it doesn't say how much money. It just okay. I'm trying to see if it gives a total amount. Shall be measured by the difference between percentage increase, nominal gross, and real gross national. Okay, here, wait a second. Oh, that's inflation. What if it's total revenues? Yep, following. Okay, so that's the emergency. I thought that there was something in here. There's nothing in here about tying it to. The only way that it ties it to GDP is the increase in GDP. But other than that, essentially, it doesn't say anything. The limit on total may be changed by a specified amount by 3/4 vote of both houses of Congress when approved by the legislatures of a majority of the several states. That's an interesting line. The limit on total outlays may be changed by a specified amount by a 3/4 vote of both houses of Congress when approved by the legislatures of a majority of the several states.
So 26 states.
No, yeah, I know, but limit on the total outlays. So essentially, they're saying you can change the limit on outlays with the constitutional amendment. I don't think it's a majority. Is that what we need to pass the constitutional amendments majority? I thought it was is it a super majority?
I want to say I want to say you need 2/3.
2/3, 2/3. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't. I was
Yeah.
trying to see if anything in here about tying it to GDP, but it doesn't tie it to GDP. What it does is it ties it to the GDP increase. Total outlays in any fiscal year shall not increase by a percentage greater than the percentage increase in nominal gross national product in the last calendar year ending prior to the beginning of said fiscal year. That's that is what they're tying it to. So you and then if inflation's over 3%, then you need to reduce your total outlays. But it doesn't tie it to GDP like, oh well, you know your total outlays can't be more than 60% of GDP. It's just saying that you can't increase your budget more than what the percentage increase of your GDP is. So if you have a GDP of $10 trillion and over the year it goes up 1%, you can if you spent because there's nothing here that limits. Yeah, it only puts a there's only something in here about if the total revenues exceed total outlays. And then there's emergency outlays. But yeah, it just says the limit on total outlays, which there's no limit.
Total outlays shall include budget and off-budget outlays and exclude redemptions of the public debt and emergency outlays.
Yeah.
The hell are off-budget outlays?
I don't know. I mean, that's but then if there's like the limit on total outlays may be changed. So the only way to change the limit or change the percentage, like here the only way you can change the only increase in total outlays can be done by the percentage of GDP. And the only way to change that according to this is with state approval.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I like where the libertarians are headed.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's this whole thing. The government of the United States shall. Oh, wait a second. No, where is it? There. For each of the first 6 fiscal years, total grants shall not be smaller. Be a smaller fraction of total outlays than in the 3 fiscal years prior to the ratification. Thereafter, if grants are less than that fraction of total outlays, the limit on total outlays shall decrease by an equivalent amount. Like, yeah, I get what they're trying to do here, but it doesn't limit the total spending at all. It just limits the increase. It doesn't limit the total outlays. It limits the total outlays by saying, hey, if your inflation goes up, if inflation is going up, then you need to decrease your total outlays, and that part is here. Inflation for the last calendar year prior any da 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 is more than 3%, The permissible percentage increase in total outlays for that fiscal year shall be reduced by 1/4 of the excess inflation over 3%. So if your GDP goes up 3%, but your inflation is at 5%, the permission it shall be reduced by 1/4 of the excess inflation over 3%. So you would reduce. So if your GDP went up 3%, inflation went up 5%, you would take a quarter point. So you could only increase your total outlays by 2.75%.
Enough.
So I mean this is kind of, I don't know. Was there anywhere else that it said that it limits it? Let me look, because I thought that there was one that limits it to a certain percentage of GDP, but I'm probably wrong. Debt limit. Okay. So in the conservative one, there is a debt limit of 50% of the GDP. You can't have it in the conservative one.
See, I feel like that should be more like 10 or 20%.
Of GDP?
Yeah. Dude,
Let me,
I just don't understand why the federal government should be allowed to go into that much debt, and what it does to the country and the people as a whole. It's just like it's an overall detriment.
you're not wrong. Here it is. This is the one. Congress shall have to borrow money on the credit of the United States, providing that the public debt of the United States shall not exceed 50% of GDP as defined by law, except during an emergency. I don't.
Either that or there needs to be some kind of clause that we can't carry debt for more than, you know, 20 years or something like that. I I don't.
There is something in. Hold on. There is something in the libertarian one about the same type of thing. Let me find it, because there's neither the federal government nor any state or tribal government shall ever give or loan its credit in the aid of or make any donation or grant or subsidy or otherwise to any individual, association, or corporation. Okay, that's saying that the government can't give
Loan to
aid
private
to.
industry.
Um, yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Nope, there's nothing about debt that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to put stuff in there about the budget and put constraints around fiscal responsibility. I think I don't know if either one of us has enough knowledge or understanding of it to really
Well, I think a
say
good
one.
I think a good constraint is tying it to GDP. I mean, our
Yeah,
debt can only be a certain amount of GDP, and then I mean, because they go through this all the time. It's raising the debt ceiling, right?
yeah,
If it's in the Constitution, the debt can't exceed 50%, then there is no more raising the debt ceiling. But then you get into the problem
exactly.
of people saying, "Oh, well, if you don't, then we're just going to shut the government down. We're just going to shut the government down. We're just going to shut the
Yeah.
government down."
Well, I guess I wonder what that means then at that point. It's like, so let's say you hit the 50%. Hopefully you never go back to that, but you hit the 50%, and then what? Like, what do
The
you
government
cut?
shuts down.
And then what about all the social programs that the government provides and like the
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 government
people
shuts
like
down.
for
This is what they do is they hold each other, they hold the different parties hostage. Hey, we're putting, whoever controls the house, they put the budget forward, and they say this is what we want on the budget, and they get it past the House because they have the majority, and then it goes to the Senate, and if they have majority in the Senate, they can usually do it. But the thing is, they'll, hey, we're not going to, if they need one vote on one way or the other, again, doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, they hold it hostage. They hold the government hostage, and that's why you have government shutdowns, because they're
Yeah.
saying we're not going to pass this bill because we don't approve where the money's going. So they, and in other countries, they have different things that are in place to quote unquote prevent things like that. Like if they don't come to an agreement in a certain period of time, then there's a runoff election. Everybody that's in there gets
Yeah.
is out in the.
Same thing.
You have
Yeah,
to
we
have a new.
wrote that into the elections clause in section 4, I think. Yeah, we said we were going to add that.
The part about the balanced budget.
Yeah.
Did we say that?
Yeah, I remember the discussion.
Oh, I know we had the discussion. I don't, there's nothing in here about that particular thing that we put in here.
Well, I feel like it needs to be in there. Yeah, if the government shuts down for more than 30 days, you have a runoff election.
You have a runoff?
Yeah.
A runoff of what? The House?
Everybody. I say everybody.
The whole kit and caboodle?
Yep.
President too?
Well, the president didn't really have anything. I feel like the consequences, because I mean, I guess if he vetoed the budget bill.
Well, that's if he vetoed it, but we're talking about the House or the Senate gridlocked and saying, hey.
I guess then it would depend on where things get stalled. If they get stalled in the House, you run off the House. If they get stalled in the Senate, you run off the Senate, and then then if it, I don't know, the veto on the president thing, I'm like, that one's giving me pause. But then again, yeah, I think you do. If it's getting vetoed by the president, then yeah, you run off the executive branch.
So runoff elections, if government shut down over 30 days?
Yeah. Or I don't know, maybe you do the whole thing and be like, hey, y'all are responsible for this. So in one shape, form, or another. So, and then and I think we had this discussion too, where it's like, you let the people decide, like, who was responsible based on the vote.
Runoff in whichever body is holding.
No, I changed my mind. Unless you feel differently, I say run off everybody.
Run off them all.
Yeah. I mean, because there should be consequences for this.
There should be consequences for somebody trying to force a budget bill through that doesn't have the people in mind, or that there is a faction that is saying, hey, we're not going to let you pass this. Okay, we can take from either side. You just had the big beautiful bill that
and it really was.
So beautiful. Let me tell you, we don't need health care. Like, you want money? What? No.
Health care is for sissies.
Oh shucks. No.
Oh, and you don't need to go to school. Well, you can go to school and we can help you out with that. But 12 units isn't enough. You need 15.
No. We need more money for immigration and enforcement for DHS. DHS needs more money. 100%.
Yeah. So
we need to take the money that we would normally spend on helping the population, helping the citizenry, and we need to take that money away from them and spend it on.
on, on resources to terrorize the public.
I was If you
Did
want to
I say
look
that?
at it, it's really funny because you're like, no, we don't want to spend money on our citizens. We want to spend money on the illegals.
But they're protecting us, Matthew.
The illegals are
Like,
protecting us?
no. The money that they're spending for the resources, they're protecting the American people from. We're protecting. They're
Which
protecting us
which ones? The ones they
from the
killed or the
illegal.
ones that they're shipping out of the country?
Yeah, pick one.
Okay. So, okay, so if you get one, so it kind of affects all. It's like, hey, if you're not going to get along in the playground, everybody's going to sit. We have a
Yeah.
zero tolerance.
In my head, then because then you have the runoff election, and then you let the people decide
The
who
people
was
decide
responsible.
who's responsible for it.
Yes. And then if the president had nothing to do with it, like then
He stays in office.
yeah,
So,
and same thing for everybody.
I mean, that is one way for a particular group to be able to say, "Hey, hope everybody's ready for a new ready to get elected again." Because your
But
Senate your Senate's divided, in every 2 years a third gets reelected.
but do you, but from a power perspective, do you really want to roll those dice? And maybe you do, and it could, and there is a possibility that you could game the system that way, where you put it out in the media that you set the narrative, and there's all these other things going on, and then you start blaming the other side. Like that's a possibility, but then we go down the whole road of like what's good faith, how like can we have to write this in good faith, like that people are, and most people are going to act in good faith.
Yeah,
And
it's going
then
to
and then
be. I would want to see some data on that.
that's fair.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, and it's not like we're putting our John Hancock on this Constitution right this second, anyways.
No.
Oh man.
But I mean, that would be a hell of a ticket to have not only both state senators, all your representatives from those states, and the president all on one ticket.
Yeah, but think of the incentive that
That'd be
puts in
crazy.
place.
I mean,
Yeah, it would.
okay,
But
wait a
I
second.
feel like that's what the consequence has to be. The consequence has to be crazy, because the idea that you're going to let the government shut down because you morons can't work this out. Like I feel like that's where that's
See,
where you
but
gotta
then,
go.
but wait a second. But how are you going to determine who's running?
Well, I mean, all the incumbents can run again, and then
Can they?
you just, well, how would you exclude them?
How are you going to primary? That's what I'm wondering. How are you going to put? How do you have enough time for somebody to make an informed decision on what their options are? Okay. Hold up. I apologize for thinking that people make informed decisions whenever they vote. I
Yeah.
I would like to first apologize.
Go with that, but like the idea that 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 people's access to information, if they so choose, isn't readily available at any given time. I don't buy that.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is, okay, normally you have primaries. Like we just went through March 3rd was the primaries here in North Carolina for the elections, the midterms that are coming up in November this year. Right. So we just had our primaries. Um, and it's 3 months, or no, not 3 months, 6 months, right? November, which is 11, no, six, how many months? 8 months?
You tell me.
What's 11 minus 3? 8 months. There you go. Okay. So 8 months from now, we're going to have our midterm elections.
Yeah.
We just did our primaries. So
Yep.
they just determined who was going to be running for the different parties. And then they get
Yeah.
eight
You're
months to
talking about a long
campaign.
period of time. You'd have to shorten it.
Well, no. I'm not. Yeah. No. I'm thinking you got 30 days, man.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too.
Like you've had the government shut down for 30 days. We need to get people in there. You got 30 days to do your. At the end of that 30 days, you know. But again, I'm still trying to understand here when you're talking about having runoffs. Okay, so what? The person that's already there, they automatically get put on the ticket, and then how do you determine who they're going against? How do you determine that the party wants that person? Like, oh, well, the incumbent automatically gets they automatically get right put back on the ballot. I mean, is that punishment?
Well,
Because they don't
I
have to go through a
no,
primary. It's like,
no,
oh,
but
well,
it
I'm
doesn't
going to be
apply.
I'm already going for my party, and my state votes,
Yeah, but I mean,
and then you get
the
the same people
punishment is
in.
whether or not they get reelected. I don't know. Maybe you have the primaries in the first 15 days, and then the runoff election in the last 15.
I was. What do you do? 30 and 30.
Okay.
30 for the primaries so 3 months. So what I would do is I would say the if your government is shut down for 30 days, the previous budget gets put in
Ooh,
place.
I remember what we did now. We said after 30 days you reopen the government with the previous year's budget, and then you do the runoff election.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you got to fund it somehow. So
Yeah.
you get a continuation of the previous year of whatever it is for the next. And well, that's what I'm wondering. Do you do it for the next year and then have the runoffs over that year, or do you say no? The budget gets enacted. All y'all are out after 30 days, and primaries. You get 30 days to primary, and then you have your elections after 30 days for the primaries, and then you got 30 days to do it, and within 2 months, well, and then everybody gets sworn in 3 months later.
I say everybody's sworn in within a month, and then from the day they're sworn in, you have 30 days to balance that budget, or we're doing this shit again.
30 days to come up with a new budget.
Yeah.
So so if we take, all right, so you're saying 30 days to primary, federal holiday. Our federal holidays, which they should already be. Let's see. 30 days to primary, 30 days to election. And then when are they sworn in? 15 days after. I mean, you got to have time to go through and certify. Who certifies the results?
Yeah, I'd say 30. Well, the Secretary of State in each state, same way you do it now.
but then they're sent to the government, and the government reads them, and sets the. So are we? Wait a second, but we're not doing electoral college anymore. We're
Oh, did we
doing
get did we get rid of that?
we're doing Star, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think Star is what it was. Yeah, Star was one of the top choices. I mean, pop that into ChatGPT and see what the for best representation of the people. What is the best type of election method for representation of the people? See, I don't know that. I mean, right now we have elections in November, and then the results. How long does it take? It takes it's like a month to do the results, right?
Yeah.
They're usually certified, or is it? And then in January, they're usually certified a month later, and then in no January 6th. I mean, how could we not know? So we have the elections in November, um, and then the results are quote unquote read or certified on January 6th. And then January, whatever, if the 20, it's somewhere in there, the end of January is when everybody's sworn in. So you're talking 2 months for certifications.
Chad is saying proportional representation is the best way to do it.
That's no. What type of voting? How do you do? What method of voting? Proportional representation. That doesn't. I don't think that
So
that's
what
a
am I asking? What's going to be the quickest?
no. What is
Well, you know
proportional
what
voting?
question you want.
Yeah, the electoral system is proportional representation. That's not what we want. We're talking about voting. We're talking about elections.
We are.
I'm gonna smack you
Threaten me with a good time.
right through the screen. Oh goodness. Okay, so sworn in 15 days after validation, 30 days after sworn in.
I'm supposed to.
Provide vote on budget. Okay, so we're 30 days of primary, 30 days to election, 30 days to validate result. That's 3 months. 15 days after that, so that's 3.5 months, and then 30 days. I mean, 30, that's 90 days, 90 days to validate, to do everything. And then you get 45 days to create a budget. Well, 30 days to create a budget. Is that enough time? 30 days?
You're at 60. My whole thing is that the government's going to still be running.
Exactly.
It's going to be back up and running at least while this is going on.
Correct.
So you could pad it with a little bit more time, I think.
So 60 days after
Yeah.
sworn in to vote on budget. in.
And maybe something along the lines of like, hey, this is the only issue that's going on the docket in both or in
Yeah.
either legislature.
60 days to create and start vote on budget. And then yeah, but then you're getting around the whole government shutdown thing because you're given a year. And if you put a
Is that how
time
much time
frame
it ends up being?
on, do what?
Is that how much time it ends up being?
Well, no. What I'm saying, how long are you gonna say that it goes for what, 6 months? It goes for a year. Like how long do you enact the previous year's budget?
I say for if you add all that up,
Well, I mean, you're talking
then
6 months.
yeah,
So 6 months.
yeah.
Okay, wait a second. So, so we're talking House, Senate, and President all up for election.
But I think at the end of the day, everybody inside of that could be culpable, and then the people need to decide who that was.
Um, let's see. Year budget in place for 6 months. Previous year budget in place for 6 months. Legislative and executive branches, all elected officials up for vote. I mean, those are the only ones that we get to vote for. Primary and election days are federal holidays. 30 days to primary, 30 days to election, 30 days to validate result. Sworn in 15 days after validation, and you get 60 days to create and start the vote on the budget. And then they get 15 days to vote, and because it's 6 months, because that's 5.5 months right there. At 6 months, well, they get it, so they get 45 days to get it passed.
Yep.
Forty-five days to
Do
get
it
it
all
done, or
again.
we do it all again. I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy. No, and obviously there's going to be problems with this. Let's see. Did you find out from AI
What like what method of voting? Like
what method? Okay, you're going to make me do it here. Let's see.
well, because I don't understand the question you want asked.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Hold on a second.
Standing by.
Let's see. What voting type of provides the best representation of the. Let's see. Let's see what it says.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, I know what the problem is. It's using the word representation. Can't use that word.
Yeah, see, I did the same. Yeah, and I'm like, I get that this is extreme, and it it's going to cause a lot of upheaval, but I feel like it should be extreme. Like, if you're going to be that petty, and the idea that, you know, 536 people, 37 if you count the vice president, can't figure this out in a reasonable manner is, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous when you look at it on its head. There's,
Okay, there we go. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Let's see what it says. Okay, so it's score, then automatic runoff, then it's rank choice. Okay. So proportional representation is strongest at eliminating wasted vote because you get, okay, so yeah, but that's, so what you would do is it would be harder to do because of, like, if usually we have one representative per area, but what you would do in for a proportional thing is you would have people vote in an area, and then you would divide up that area based on the percentage of people. Yeah. So for proportional, ballots range from simple, which is you pick a party, like you don't even get to choose a candidate, you pick a party, and then to more expressive, you rank candidates in like an STV or an open list, and then what it does is it will proportionally assign seats according to that. So it would fundamentally change the way that we do representation in the, because you wouldn't really vote for people anymore. You would vote for seats. That makes sense. So you would take a full like you could have different parties. You could take, like, okay, well, we have the Republican, the Democrat, we have the Green, the Libertarian, whatever, and you would have everybody vote for what they wanted, and then whatever percentage each one gets, that's the percentage of seats that they get in the House, or that what I mean. So rather than voting for one person in your area that represents your area, you would be voting on a party that represents you. So you would have less quote unquote wasted votes because you're percentagely apportioned to whatever your thing is. Yeah, exactly. So that's the if you're ranking one person, um, star is the way to go. If you're getting, like, if you want a governor, if you're electing a governor, but if you're electing a council or a parliament or whatever with seats
Legislature.
instead of, so I mean that's kind of good, kind of bad, but because you don't necessarily have a say in who goes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't know exactly what you're getting.
Do you?
I mean, you really don't at the end of the day, no
Yeah,
matter
but it's
what.
really interesting to do proportional, talking about proportional, how we would even implement that in our type of system. Okay, let's proportional representation. I mean, because is that something that we would even want to go to versus what we have now
I don't know. But do we really want to go down this rabbit hole? I like because we're coming up on
on
3 hours.
3 hours? Yeah, I know. We'll do it. We'll on the left, the results of the first past the post election in New Zealand before the implementation of mixed member proportional representation in 96. So this is what
So
you get. You get a better representation of what people want.
yeah,
But again, you're
yeah,
not,
I think that's
so so your quote unquote wasted vote, like you could vote for the Green Party, and
good.
the Green Party would actually have the ability to be represented within, whatever it is, because they don't, that person doesn't have to beat another person. It's, instead of going person by person, you're going party against party.
Yeah,
So yeah, so you would do party list. Yeah. So, anyways, we can look at that, and STV is usually what they use for single transferable. It goes, but we can look at all of that stuff another time. I mean, this is, we are 100% going to have a session just on voting and how representation is done, and then how the elections are set, and how people are, you know there have been things that have come out from other countries that solve for some things, that the problem of the two party system, like this sort of resolves the two party system problem.
mhm. Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
but yeah, I mean, what you could what you could do from this perspective, you could see, and again, rather than representing a particular section, you would represent a party. So what you could do is, hey, everybody go, we're going to go vote on how we're going to split the House. We have 435 seats. Everybody go vote for what party you want. And you'd have to do this in you could do it in one thing or two. You could vote, hey, we're vote for your party, and then vote for a person in your party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're doing two separate
Yeah.
things. I got
Yeah. And then that you could your vote would quote unquote matter more. So,
Did
but
we
yeah,
want to review anything else in the extra sections? I mean, I didn't even really see anything that was there anything
I'm,
else worth going over?
to be honest with you, adding the Bill of Rights is the main thing. The fiscal stuff is the only thing that's not included in our current Constitution at all. There's nothing in there about fiscal responsibility. Um, so that would be the one thing. If we're so tied to
And
GDP,
well,
I mean,
like maybe we just put an asterisk next to the Bill of Rights things. thing because we don't know exactly where we want it to go. And then I think we need to get through the other two articles before we really decide on that.
With the branches. Well, I mean, you can create a whole new. We could just add another article that has all of the Bill of Rights in it.
Yeah, and that might be the way to go.
I mean, you have the legislation, you have the executive, you have the judicial, and then you have the people.
Yeah, yeah,
I
I like
mean,
that.
you know, or it's one of those things. Powers denied Congress. You don't have the ability to make laws about these things,
Yeah,
and that kind of takes care of the people part.
yeah, yeah. Like Congress shall make no law regarding, the freedom of
Religion,
speech.
all that stuff. Yeah. Um, which that stuff was going to that was a big contention when the Constitution was made, as far as the states ratifying. And we've said this before. There were, I think it was it the Federalist or Anti-Federalist? I don't know. One side was very extremely concerned about the rights of the people. I think it was the Anti-Federalists,
Yeah,
about that stuff not being in this initial document. So, um, but again, we had the first 10 amendments that were all put in there. Is there? I don't. So we got money. What was the other things about? It was about Congress being able to something about veto of executive branch, implementation of laws. I think is what.
yeah.
Um, but after that, I don't know that there was anything else. I think that was.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything else, and there wasn't anything else that I saw in the. I mean, obviously, you remove the slave trade clause, the 3/5 clause, and the tax clause. Like all that stuff has been superseded by amendments. Um, there was in the conservative one, admin courts. You remember we talked about that in the last one, I think. The administrative courts to not tie up other things. Um, but I think that's. And then the whole tax stuff. The conservative one puts a central bank in the Constitution, which there's a lot of fighting against that.
We have the Department of Treasury. So
No, 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 no. Central bank, Federal Reserve, essentially.
yeah, Federal Reserves.
Yeah.
We have the Federal Reserves.
No, no, I know we have it, but this puts it in the Constitution. The Federal Reserve is not in the Constitution at all.
Yeah, I understand. Like, and I don't know. I feel like that'd be a whole other podcast episode to talk about
Oh,
whether or not.
money is going to be something that we talk about a lot.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
Well, yeah.
um,
Well, I think this is a good stopping point.
yeah,
How are you feeling?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. It is,
Well,
we've been going for a
okay.
little bit now,
Yeah. Yeah.
like an
We
hour or
we had
two.
some good conversation. I feel like.
Yeah,
I don't know if
definitely.
you held up your end, but
Probably not. Probably not at all. Um, but
I'll let it slide this
that's fine. I'll make up for it next week.
time. All right.
Um,
You
so,
can try. I don't know.
so so
That's
next
my
week is.
expectation.
I bet next week is Article 2.
Yes.
Article 2, executive power.
Yeah, gonna get into it. It's gonna be interesting.
It's going to be very
Uh,
interesting. How do we
we know.
execute the laws?
Yeah. And how do we do that without letting one person be a law unto themselves?
Well, I mean, if you, I'll just do it, and then if you don't like it, you can just take me to court.
Fair enough.
What else are you going to
Do
do?
something. Yeah.
Well, what was it? Who said it? It was a president. It's like, yeah, that was his ruling. Now let him enforce it. I forget what that
Oh,
was from.
Jackson.
Was that
Yeah,
Jackson?
that was. Yeah, and that was when he took the Cherokees and and sent them on the Trail of Tears.
Yep. He gave his ruling. Now let him enforce it. I mean, but that's what the U.S. Marshals are supposed to do, right? They're
Right.
supposed to be the police force of the courts.
Yeah, except the U.S. Marshals are a branch of or are a bureau of the executive branch.
Are they?
I believe so. Yes. I could be
Yeah. Oh,
wrong.
oh no, I know. The judicial branch doesn't have any type of
Enforcement.
enforcement whatsoever. You know, it's all
So maybe
on
that's
the.
something to think about.
It's a what?
I said maybe that's something to think about. Although that, like in my head, I just thought about it, and it's like, well, that start a civil war real quick. You know, like
Yeah, it's
that that'd be a good way to start some some serious violence. In a bad way internally.
it's funny how all this stuff works out.
Yeah. And you wish people would act in good faith. Like, when a court ruling comes out and you don't like it, you follow the court ruling. But
You'd think. Well, there's only 4 sections in Article 2.
life. There's only what?
There's only 4 sections in Article 2.
That's better than 10.
And we have a total of, what is it? 7 articles?
That sounds right.
7, somewhere in there. So,
What are the other? Nah, we'll figure it out later.
well, you got the legislative, executive, judicial, and then you have things like states, citizenship, new states, like you have the information on that. You have the amendment process, which is its own article. Um, Debt, supremacy, oaths, religious tests, that's another article, and then ratification. So a lot of them are literally like they don't even have sections.
Procedural. Yeah, they're procedural.
Exactly. Like the judicial is 3 sections. I believe the state citizenship and new states is like 4. Amendment process is literally just like a paragraph. And so is the debt supremacy. I believe that's like a paragraph or 2, and then ratification is I believe it's like 2 lines, like maybe a sentence or 2. So
Good times. All right. So we're making progress.
so it should be after we get through the first 3 articles, we should be blazing through them all. But the first 3 articles are the ones that matter. That's what actually runs our government. So.
All right, everybody. It's been real and it's been fun, but not real fun.
Oh, geez, man, I was hoping to get them both, or all 3. But
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. Come see us next weekend, next Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time. We'll start on Article 2. Do what?
I said, check us out on YouTube if you're looking for a rewatch.
Yep, definitely. Everything goes on
Our
YouTube.
Reddit page will be up and running soon, right?
We'll be updated, yeah, because we're gonna after we write out our Article 1, we're gonna post that on Reddit, and then let people have at it and get some ideas, thoughts, and things that see what people like, don't like, and how much we don't know.
Yeah. Or how bad we suck.
Yes, that too.
Looking forward to that.
But until then, everybody out there, remember to be kind to yourself and to each other.
Be curious and stay safe and make good choices.
It's a horrible thing. Don't make good choices. Make great choices. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
I'm not offended.
I couldn't help it.
Maybe a little.
Just a little.
All right, everybody. It's been fun.
Bye. We
Have a
will see
great
you
night.
next week. See you later.
Bye.